Welcome to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin for the very first time. The Cup Series, the Darkmatter Designs Cup Series, will be here at Road America. And what better place to be at than America's National Park of Speed on the 4th of July weekend, located in the picturesque region of the Kettle Moraine area of Wisconsin. I'm excited to be here. Joined in the booth, Chris Speer. I'm Jared Carr, and Chris, this is our fourth road course we've already gotten so far this year. What can we expect tonight out of the longest road course that these guys have probably ever raced on, especially in a Cup car? Well, we're happy you guys at home are spending your 4th of July, your end of your 4th of July weekend with us here on Full Throttle TV. And what a beautiful track. I've always loved it. IndyCar and has made this place synonymous. Sports car racing, recently Xfinity cars, and now finally the Cup cars. And I just can't think of a better place to be, except maybe Daytona, than Road America on 4th of July. But we got a lot of stuff going on. Let's take a look first off at the race information. There it is. 4.048 miles, even though our thing says 3.98. I don't know where they got that number from, but it is, I can assure you, it is 1 miles. It is got 165 feet of elevation change, Chris, and we'll talk about that. But right now, 83 degrees, 120 track temp, partly cloudy, winds out of the southwest at 11 miles an hour. Pretty slick conditions for these drivers, Chris.
Much more exciting here tonight, as these guys are going to be sliding all over the track and just doing everything they can to maintain the grip in these tires, and the track's doing everything it can to take it away.
And apologies about that. We had a issue with TeamSpeak there, our voice service program. But we do have Chris on here now, and I think we got most of that, Chris, so I apologize. But we look at the championship grid here, and this has been tight, and we take a look at it right now. This is the normal point standing, so Bobby Terrell leading that. Troy Torgerson, he is not going to be able to make it tonight. Casey Mullen not making it tonight. A couple other drivers. Dean Doucette is not here tonight. Chad Lang, I do not believe, is here tonight. So a lot of things can shake up in the points, but mostly this one is all about that top 25. Jeff Chandler, with that second place finish at Pocono last week, was able to get back up into the top 25 in points, and that's huge because he's got 3 wins on the year, Chris.
It certainly is, and he is actually here tonight too, so we'll get to see him and his car here at Road America. He's doing everything he can because of his schedule to just be able to get into the playoffs and then go from there. But man, it's going to be a tough one, missing out on a couple races. He's trying to prove that he can do it even with missing several weeks in the season.
Exactly right. And let's flip this thing over to our playoff standings and how they would be if the playoffs started right now. So Bobby Terrell will be leading that. Now, these are all the only 10 drivers that are locked in based on wins currently. So that'd be Bobby Terrell, Richie Coy, Dale Nearad, Troy Torgerson, Jeff Winter, Jeff Chandler, Jason Speer, Dean Doucette, Tim Bills, and Randy McCanny. Everybody else fighting for those positions. So it kind of gives you guys at home an idea of where these drivers are. You look at a guy like Chad Lang, he's 16th in regular points, but because of Tim Bills' wins, Tim Bills isn't here tonight, he is actually outside of the playoffs and would need to get in on points or find himself into victory lane, Chris. And a lot of things can change here tonight. We could have an upset winner here.
We certainly could. And I think that's something that we'll have to watch out for here early on. This track is very aggressive in its nature to begin with how you have to treat the corners and things like that. Now you're going to be doing it with cars all around you. That's going to make things even that much more difficult.
And we are getting sometimes coming up on the screen here. And let's see where we're at. So Andrew Palicki goes to the top in the number 96 machine. Andrew Palicki has really come on strong over the last few weeks. And that number 96 machine, Looney Bin Lures on the hood, looking really good on the pole. Don't think he'll be able to get 2 laps in, but we will see. Bernard Person second on the board after his line, running a Rowdy Energy Track paint. And then Mike Watts has gone second, Chris. We're going to have this thing jump around quite a bit here.
We certainly will. With this track being so large, Jared, with laps of over 2 minutes, it's going to be anyone's guess of who's going to actually end up on the pole here just because of when drivers go out onto the track.
And we have some guys out in the chat already tonight. Doyle Lawrence joining us once again. And I was talking to him earlier. He's got some new paints on the 31 and the 30 tonight, and he is going to be rooting those on. There's Jeff Winter's paint. Very good looking paints. We'll see Jeff Chandler's. He's already off track as he goes top on the board. But very, very nice paints. I like the reflectivity of those paints. And they're not the only ones with some reflective paints out there. You see Brian Helm's gone through. Kenneth Schultz, a good road racer, up into the top 10 as well. But Chris, Road America, first time this year. This is our fourth road course, but this is the first time of the year this year that we're going to have a caution that's going to be thrown halfway through the event.
We certainly are. It's going to be a breath of fresh air for a lot of different drivers, but more than that, Jared, it's going to bunch everyone back up together. It'll be the second time that these guys are all in a pack with one another, and usually that can make for some very exciting racing, and they'll bump and grind off of each other, trying to get around that first long sweeping left or right-hand corner into that hairpin.
Exactly right, Chris. So the pits will close once the leader starts lap 13. So that's the key. Once the leader starts lap 13, and the caution will come out when the leader has passed the kink going into that long straightaway on the back end of the track. They call it kettle bottoms. That will be the other place you'll have to watch out for. The caution will come out on lap 14 heading to 15. And the cautions, from what I've experienced, is about 2 laps in total. So everybody will pit at the same time. Lucky dogs shouldn't be an issue or wave rounds at that point in the race, but it'll be something to see and shake up.
It certainly will. Another thing it'll do, Jared, is it'll put a bunch of guys back on fresh tires, and you'll see people make changes to their cars. This track's official races that we've seen in this past week on iRacing, so it may mean that some guys are going to have to make some changes early on to their car.
Yeah, we looked, and Joe Flanagan was on a hot lap, and he hit the wall. I couldn't tell exactly where that was because he got off the track too soon. Here comes Adam Newton. He is in his second race. What a way to start your Cup Series career as Road America. He may have gotten off course because his lap did not count either. Trying to find somebody on track. Lane Allen is on track. Let's see what he can do. He was fastest in practice, and he's going to put down a 2:14.25. So he will not get the pole there likely. Brody Hampton at the very end, and he is able to make it here, and he is on the track right now. And let's see what the 23 car can do. You also got Chuck Sweeting out there, and he is running a little bit different paint than he did last week. For Gator Racing, that Geezer's Garage no more. Now they're called Gator Racing, as most of those drivers based out of Florida. Here comes, Brody Hanna is starting his warm-up lap, so we will see what he does on the next time by. Apologies, he did go actually quickest. We got Chuck Sweeting as the only driver still out here, and we have about 50 seconds left before qualifying ends here, Chris.
Such a beautiful track here with all the nature built into the track. It's kind of like the course weaves around that nature and really makes for some beautiful scenery. Almost hard to not get distracted while driving here, Jared.
Yeah, it is. And Chris, you mentioned that the official races, they started at about 3 p.m. The races here start with the actual NASCAR time, which means practice starts an hour earlier, so the track doesn't cool down nearly as much as the official races start out at. So we are only at, I think, about 2:45 in-game time currently. And, Chuck Sweeting gets loose, and that lap is not going to count. So Chuck Sweeting's going to have to come from the back. We got several drivers that didn't post a lap. Tracy Powers, Adam Newton, Joe Flanagan, Bobby Terrell, our point leader. He is on the track now, but he is not going to be able to get that done. As qualifying has gone to the end. And they will have their warm-up. And during this warm-up time, we're going to speak to Ralph Nolan Jr. Ralph finished 4th place last week. Nobody else that finished ahead of him that we haven't spoken to. We've spoken to Jeff quite a few times in our pre-race interviews because he's won so much this year. But Ralph Nolan Jr., the only driver that we haven't spoke to that's here tonight. So we're going to bring him up, Chris, and dial him up and see what he's doing in the 95. Ralph Nolan Jr., it's Chris and Jared up in the Full Throttle TV booth. You got a copy on us?
I do, gentlemen. How are we doing this evening?
Oh, pretty good, Ralph. We saw you elected, I believe, not to take qualifying time. Is that correct?
No, I did. I'm pretty much one of the last guys on the board who took a time.
Gotcha. Well, Ralph, you finished back there in fourth place last week. Your best run of the season at Pocono. I mean, that was an amazing race for you. You came kind of through the field, and the waters kind of opened up for you, and you had a great run at the end of it.
Yeah, I had a lot of luck last week. Early in the race, I had a really good car. That's one of the tracks I've been really good at, and for some reason, I just found the magic last week. But I had a really good setup to start, and then I got sideswiped out of 3, had to go into pits, fix damage, then came back out, and I hit the wall off of 3 again. That time, my fault, so I had to go back and fix damage again. And then after that, I'm pretty serious when I say this. I probably avoided 4 to 6 wrecks that happened right in front of me, and it was just a lot of luck. And to get a top 5 for the first time in a long time, which I've had a lot of bad luck, and I really deserved one after all that, the adversity. But it was good.
Yeah, you had a great run last week. You've had a couple other good runs this year, but Ralph, you're sitting there on that 24th, 25th position. 8 races to go. How are you feeling about the rest of the season? Do you think there's a playoff shot there, or what is your goal going into the rest of the year?
Realistically, I think the playoffs are going to be a long shot. Unfortunately, I missed 4 races in a row because of work and a few extra activities that I do in the springtime. So really, my best chance is going to win, and probably my best chance is going to be next week at Atlanta. I had a really good run there last time. I had a top 5 locked up, but then I had a wreck on the last lap, which was my fault. So probably I'm going to have to win, and hopefully the cards work out. So we're going to need a lot of luck to get in. Realistically, you can get a top 20 and then maybe sneak in. That'd be great. But realistically, who knows? We're going to need some help.
All right, Chris, you got anything for the driver of the 95 here tonight?
I do, Ralph. You talked about last week how you had to avoid different wrecks and things like that, and actually pit for damage. This track, there's only going to be that one caution that splits the race in half. What are you going to do to avoid that kind of damage here tonight?
Personally, it's going to be me keeping it on the track. I'm not very good at road courses. This one especially. I didn't even start testing until this afternoon. So, I just got other stuff going on. So, unfortunately, it's just going to be me trying to keep it between the white lines, not get around anybody, and just stay out of people's way, and we'll see what we get.
Well, absolutely. We'll be watching for you tonight, and hopefully you have a better result than what you're expecting, and we'll be able to talk to you later.
We're going to see. Hopefully it is. Hope you guys have a good broadcast. Hopefully we put on a good show, and we'll see how it goes. But thanks for having me in. It's nice to talk to you guys.
Yeah, for sure, Ralph. If you have anybody you want to thank, you're more than welcome to do that as well.
Just Johnny Malachuk. We're kind of in association with Franchise Racing and No Excuses Racing. Still want to thank him for helping me out with some setups and everything, and a few guys that are behind the scenes that I actually can't too many really to talk about. So, but we're just gonna try to have a good finish and see what happens.
All right. Well, good luck, Ralph and Chris. That was the driver of the 95 machine. Looking for a solid run here tonight as we are on the home stretch toward the playoffs here as we are at Road America.
We certainly are, and just a few races left to go. He mentioned the next week we're going to Atlanta. Atlanta is kind of a little bit of a breath of fresh air for a couple of these guys that don't really care much for the road courses. Road courses are a little bit different, a little bit tricky, and NASCAR has really implemented them into its schedule pretty heavily this year, and a lot of different mixed results because of that.
That is exactly right, and we still have 2 more. I think, or maybe 3 more on the schedule, but we are going to go ahead and hear our national anthem as performed by Alyssa Shipman, and then we'll be back for your starting grid here at Road America.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last chest gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars a perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched, gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in and move through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free and the brave?
All right, we are back live at Road America, America's National Park of Speed. And here we go, getting this thing all gridded up and ready to go here tonight. Let's take a look at our starting grid here for Road America. On pole is Jeff Chandler with Frontline Esports, grabbing the pole by 4/10 of a second, I apologize, over Andrew Poliski, part of Rage and Moose. Row number 2 will have Mike Watts and Bernard Persson. Row 3, Lane Allen and Jeff Winter. Row number 4 is Gary Griffith and Tony Solare. Row 5, Dale Nearad and Randy McCanney. Chris.
Row 6 is going to be Bill Benedict III and Brian Helm. Behind them in row 7, Mike Watts and Bernard Persson. Row 15 is going to be Lane Allen and Jeff Winter. Row 16, Gary Griffith and Tony Solare. And looks like I'm actually backed up and in the wrong area. Hold on one second.
Let's see. So we got row 7, Kevin Rupert and Kenneth Schultz there. And I think there was just a little bit of a miscue on the screen there, but we got Brody Hanna and Stephen Vrooman in row 8, Wayne Grossi and Ralph Nolan in row 9, Gil Gock and Rachel Hunt in row number 10 there, Chris.
Row 11 is Joe Flanagan and Bobby Terrell. Behind them, Richie Coy in 23rd. 24th is going to be Chuck Sweeting. 25th is going to be Roy Collins and Tracy Powers in the 26th position. Behind them, rounding out the field, is going to be Adam Newton in the 27th position, and 28th is going to be James Torrey.
And 2 penalties. Richie Coy and Jeff Winter have to start from the pits tonight. Normally at a road course, but with that caution coming out, those guys are going to still be in play in this race, and will be very interesting to see what they can get done here tonight. But it's a Ford lockout on Jeff Chandler up there.
It certainly is, and watching in practice, a lot of these guys were trying to get an idea of how this start was practice runs, and they were doing pretty well until they got into that second turn to the right there, Jared. At that point, it seemed like a lot of them were having a hard time, if they were still side by side, being able to slow their car down if they were on the inside line. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as these guys take that green here tonight.
And you have to find that advantage anywhere you can, as there are some capable drivers up in this group, and there's some capable drivers that did not qualify well or get a lap in for various reasons, and it's going to be interesting to see what they can do in this race. We also had the playoff picture where somebody could punch their ticket tonight that we haven't even talked about. Guy like Lane Allen, who hasn't won yet this year. Andrew Poliski, that would throw a wrench in everybody's plans if the 96 was able to grab a victory. But we love it up here in the broadcast booth, and it's going to be exciting to see what can happen here at Road Around here.
It certainly is. With a 4-mile track, there's nothing to it but to do it, and that's what these guys are doing side by side. You know, it's interesting to see that these guys are able to keep it side by side like this. I know it seems a little crazy to think that they'd be single file through some of these side by side action we're going to see in some of these corners.
You're exactly right. Well, they're going to slow it down just a little bit here. The pace car will be off this time, and we are going to get this thing going here at Road America for the first time in FTSR history. The Cup cars are here, and we are about ready to get this thing going.
Green flag, green flag.
And green flag is out here at Road America.
going up that blind hill to the checkered flag stand as they take the green flag going into turn 1. It looks like Chandler's going to easily get an advantage going into that corner.
And everybody doing a good job through that corner. Just easily, you'll see Jeff Winter and Richie Coy heading out of the pits now. Oh, Tony Solare is off the course, hard into the wall. And he's getting it going again, but my goodness, already trouble for the 74 machine. And it looked like he just got on the brakes, Chris, and I don't see much damage on that car, but that is not the way he wanted to start this race, as Jeff Chandler already starting to inch out just a little bit of a gap, but runs wide, going through turn number up the hill into turn 7.
Yeah, looking at it, Tony Solare was able to get it back going in the right direction. Going through that corner, he just got out into the sand pit just enough. He lost all his momentum, and it's hard to get back on the track there because the wall comes back out towards you. That's what got Tony Solare there. Just nothing he could do without taking other cars out.
Solare is back there dropping, but we're focused on the lead. It's Jeff Chandler, apologies. Andrew Poliski, Mike Watts, your top 3. Bernard Person in 4th. Lane Allen in 5th. Gary Griffith, a guy that is not really a road course racer. I don't think he'll say that. Looking at a new paint scheme tonight, and he is up to 6th place on the start. But Brandy McCanny already has somehow picked up 3 spots on the starts. Now, he is the Daytona road course winner, and we know he can get it down the road course. You see Gary Griffith get loose through the kink there, and McCanny's going to have a run heading into Canada Quarter down through Kettle Bottoms.
To thinks better of it and stays right behind the 12 corner car coming through Canada Corner, and we'll keep it single file there, but he definitely had a run.
Vrooman is with the battle now. He is in 13th, battling with Kenneth Schultz up the hill, turn 13. This is what they call Mini Thunder Valley, but mostly turn 12 and 13 there. Schultz is going to persevere. Brody Hanna snuck up behind him. Bobby Terrell up 7. Now make that 8 spots as Andrew Poliski has gone off the track in the last corner. He's lost a ton of time in that 96 machine. And let's take a look at what happened here. On board Andrew Poliski. Going up turn 12, up turn 13. And you're going to see, oh, he looped around on him heading into the last corner.
It certainly did. It's a hard corner because at that moment, in that braking zone, the weight of the car is shifted from the rear to the front of the car. And at that point, he just went sideways.
That's going to open up the gap for Jeff Chandler. Mike Watts is sitting in 2nd position, though, up the hill. Then Bernard Person, who's closed down on him. Bernard Person's putting in a lot of work this week and looks to be pretty solid right now. Lane Allen also catching up to this battle, and we've seen some tremendous fights at the road courses that has involved Jeff Chandler and Lane Allen. Remember, back to Circuit of the Americas, one of the best road course races I've ever seen between those two drivers. Maybe he can get up there tonight. Gary Griffith has moved himself up into 5th position thanks to those off-track excursions.
And looking back through the pack, it looks like Rachel Hunt and that number 16 machine has also went off track alongside with Joe Flanagan as well. Flanagan got way off track and sideways, Jared.
And Joe Flanagan, he's got some damage on the front end of that 53 machine. Oh, he's off track again, Chris. And it started out, he had purple sectors, Chris, in all of the last turns. And the whole entire track, he was going to get on pole, and it looked like he went off track somewhere toward the end of the track, and it's just kind of gone downhill for Joe Flanagan so far in this race. And you look at the guys that had to start from the pits. There's Richie Coy. He's caught up to the back of Andrew Poliski, and you see in front of him everybody locking it hard down going into Canada Corner, Chris. And if they do that too much, it's going to be a big problem as the race goes on. Dale Nearad's crashed.
Dale Nearad and Kenneth Schultz have both crashed.
And Nearad is still trying to get, he's got really stuck in the grass there. He's got it going now. And when I say crash, our notification system says crash. You see behind him, Kenneth Schultz just got a little bit loose, and Dale Nearad at the same time just missed the corner heading up the hill into turn 13. So action already all over the place, Chris.
Absolutely. And when that happens, Jared, you have to get yourself back out on track and also get into a groove again because you've just lost it after all that's happened. And meanwhile, up front, Jeff Chandler has pulled away to a 2.5 second lead over Mike Watts.
That's exactly what I was about to say, Chris. You read my mind. You could see there on that camera angle just how far back Mike Watts is. And actually, it looks like right now, Chris, Mike Watts might be holding up some drivers as Bernard Persson has turned the best lap of the race at a 2:14.2. Oh, Watts is a little bit loose coming through turn number 7, Chris. And that's a tough section of the track right through here.
It certainly is. A lot of different braking zones and shifting points too, Jared. And that 8 machine, just trying to figure out where the best place is to get around this number 3 machine. That's not an easy task, even with 18 different opportunities.
Exactly right. And as one of our main viewers out here, Doyle Lawrence, said, it is a rhythm track, and if rhythm is fast. And I can't agree more than that. But right now, Jeff Chandler continued to just eke this thing out, Chris. Now, we talked about it. There are cautions here tonight. How does that play into things here tonight?
Well, what that's going to do is it's going to be able to make guys, for one, be able to make adjustments, get new tires. Any of these guys that are ending up scorching these tires by sliding them, getting off into the grass, sand pit, anything like that, they're going to be able to get new tires, be back out here, and be a little bit more competitive, even repairing some of that damage from the machines we've seen. But what that's also going to do, that's going to mean that the guys that were up front, if they're also going to be able to get new tires and be just as fast, if not faster than they were before the pit cycle, kind of going to put everyone back on even ground for a little while.
We got didn't want to miss out on the Facebook guys. I didn't have the chat app up for Facebook, so I apologize. But we got Stephen Loomis cheering on the Blackwater guys along with Terry Cooper Jr. So shout out to those guys. And Troy Torgerson rooting on the GT Performance Sim Sport guys. That's Gary Griffith, Bill Benedict, and I guess that's the only 2 that are in the race here tonight, actually. So good job for those guys up in 5th place, and Bill Benedict is in 7th place. So these guys doing really well. And you look at that battle back there, Bill Benedict in that Interstate Batteries car. He's got Brian Helm behind him, and Kevin Rupert, another driver that can make something happen on road courses. We've seen it before, been very competitive on road courses in the past in that number 1 car. He's a guy that's in the playoffs right now, Chris, on points, but a win would make that even sweeter.
And it looks like Joe Flanagan is going to go ahead and take that 53 machine to the pits. He got off track again, and just a really, really frustrating night for that machine.
Chris, now is that a situation where you make one mistake and then you're like, oh man, I made a mistake, now I need to get that time back, and you just keep overdriving it, or is there something going on with that car in general?
Well, the problem is that once you start to overdrive corners like that, you're really just relying on those tires, and you're basically at that point you're putting flat spots on those tires. That's going to make them want to continue to slide when they hit those areas. And I think that's a part of what Flanagan has ran into here tonight, which is probably very frustrating on his part. But once you have that little bit of anger, aggression going on, you're wanting to do better. And because of that, you're overdriving the corner just that much more, even though the car already can't handle it.
Jump on board the 14 machine of Lane Allen for Steve Berry Racing. 98th start here tonight, and Lane Allen, if you can believe that, has never won in the Cup Series. Has been a bridesmaid, especially on road courses, many times. He's actually finished 2nd already 3 times this year in the Cup Series, looking for that first win. He is just being patient right now, Chris, behind Bernard Persson and Mike Watts, just kind of biding his time. And is that because they know there's a caution coming? Why press the issue? Or is it there's something, maybe he's trying to feel out these guys in front of him?
Well, how good of a poker player are you, Jared? Because that's really what it comes down to here. At this point, do you want to show that you have all the speed in that car? Or do you want to save it for that second stint that we know that's coming? It's kind of hard to tell this early on. If I'm Jeff Chandler, I want to get as much distance between me and Mike Watts and all those guys as possible, but it's kind of stuck around the 2.8 second mark here, Jared, so maybe he is just relaxing.
Yeah, I was looking at the lap times, very much the same. Lane Allen was actually the fastest that time, but only 3/10 quicker than our race leader. That is a lot on a road course, but in the grand scheme of things, not quite a lot, as much as you might think. Bobby Terrell, though, is on a tear, Chris. He has moved up 12 positions since the start. He started 22nd. He's up 12. Brody Hanna is up 4, and Steven Vrooman is up 4. So Bobby Terrell, our point leader, and a road course driver of sorts, is doing an amazing job as he was unable to get a qualifying lap in.
Yeah, another driver that's actually doing a really good and impressive job. Richie Coy in that 19 machine had to start from the pits because of that penalty. He's up to 14th, Jared.
Richie Coy up to 14th, and just on the back end of Andrew Poliski, who went off on the second lap of the race and was dropped about 15 positions. So Poliski's trying to get back going. We also got Jeff Winter, who had to come through the pits, and you'll see him there for Frontline Esports. And he is in a gaggle of cars. We got Wayne Grossi, Tony Solare, Chuck Sweeting all in front of him. So Jeff Winter's going to have to be patient through this mess of drivers here in that number 30 car. And he is, I guess, technically moved up about 14 positions since the start.
We talk about patience a lot on the ovals with every lap being the same. That's not the case here at Road America with just how different each corner here is. Everything about patience just means being able to control your car better than the guy in front of you.
We got Gil Gock and Dale Nearad battling here. That's a battle for 20th position. Dale spun off course right in this area earlier. And he is all over the back of the 85 machine there right now. And we got Rachel Hunt in this group. She is recovering as she went off course earlier, but has been able to get that car stabilized and is looking better. Rory Collins there. Ralph Nolan, who just went off, has rejoined. James Torrey at the end of the pack. And Tracy Powers, who just went off course, is up in 27th. Joe Flanagan is back out on the track, Chris. And now, does that mean he's made his bed and he can't pit now at the caution? Or how's that going to work for him?
Well, at this point, I would not be pitting on that caution. I as long as I have enough fuel, I'm not pitting. There's no reason to, unless you just ruin your tires in this little stint here. Yeah, it's roughly 8 laps to that caution flag is going to come out. But as long as you take care of your stuff, I don't know that that's really going to hurt him. At this point, that seems like the strategy I'd be willing to take, because even if he loses some positions from where that is, right now he's dead last.
And you look at this battle for second place. I mean, Jeff Chandler has been able to kind of gap out. You saw the last laps there. 5 seconds now is the gap, and I think it's mostly because I don't know if these drivers, Bernard Person and Lane Allen, don't want to pass Mike Watts, or if Mike Watts is just faster in passing areas, but they are all over the back of that number 3 machine.
They certainly are, and man, that is a huge battle going on between those guys. And really, at this point, we talked about it, maybe there's no need to pass at this point. You know that there's caution coming. Why go ahead and potentially put yourself in a dangerous situation right now?
You saw Lane Allen glance, just showed a little bit. That's what you call it in road racing. Just show a little bit of the nose and say, hey, I'm here. And he backed out of that, but he is all over the back of the 8 car, and the 8 car is all over the back of the 3 car, and a good run out of the corner for Lane Allen. We're jump on board him. We were on board Bernard Person. You see down the straightaway, Lane Allen just doesn't quite have the same speed as the other 2 drivers.
And it looks like Gil Glock has jumped to the pits as he got off track as well, got stuck in the sand pit, and decided that he would want to jump back to the pits, get towed here tonight. But man, this battle for second, it is pretty tight between the 3, the 8, and the 14, as really they're kind of just all playing follow the leader right now. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle out of the 3, and he's going to go to the rear of those 3 drivers.
Yeah, and let's take a look at that. We were on Gil Gock there trying to look and see what happened to him, but Mike Watts, slight mistake, and that's all it takes, Chris. Coming down into turn 3, even though it's the second corner on the track. Here he goes. He's just going to get a little bit loose out of that corner, and that's all it took for Bernard Oh, my goodness. Did a good job holding on to that machine, but Bernard Person and Lane Allen taking advantage, moving them up.
It certainly did, and we talked about how these guys were just kind of biding their time. Well, apparently not, as Michael Watts was feeling the pressure from the 2 behind him. And that's what happened right there. And it's just hard racing between these guys.
Gary Griffith and Randy McCanney still hanging out in 5th and 6th position. Doesn't look like either of those drivers are pressing. And then we got Brian Helm. He's moved up and around some drivers here. He is up to 7th. Kevin Rupert is up to 8th. And Bill Benedict has dropped to 9th. And he's got Bobby Terrell, the point leader, all over the back bumper, up 12 positions. And Bobby Terrell is on a tear right now, Chris. Now, he's not running leader lap times, but he is faster than all the drivers around him right now. And he's going to get a look, maybe look on the inside here going through the kink. He's going to back out, though.
Yeah, we talked about it. He doesn't need to be doing leader type lap times at this moment. He's going to get bunched back up with them in a few laps anyway. So at this point, you just need to be faster than the guys around you. And that's what he's doing here tonight. A huge dump in positions for Bobby Terrell in that 5.
Richie Coy also up 10 positions. Jeff Winter up 8 positions thanks to his penalty there. And then Brody Hanna up 4 positions. He's starting to move forward. And you look right back there, Chris. There's Richie Coy. He has made it up to 13th position. Andrew Poliski is right ahead of him. And these are some fast drivers all in this group. Terrell, Hanna, Poliski, and Coy all running lap times quicker than the race leader right now.
Well, we talked about it earlier that this was going to be a challenge for these guys with that penalty. They're trying to do it the hard way by passing as many cars as they possibly can before that caution, Jared. These guys are making it look easy. The problem is that every car they pass, the cars in front of them are running just a little bit faster, so you can catch them quickly, but you may not be able to pass all of them.
Bernard Person and Lane Allen have gapped a little bit to Mike Watts back there as Lane Allen just goes a little bit wide, gets a little bit loose out there on the rumble strips. Not a lot of grip there. We take a look through the rest of this field. Steven Vrooman in that 00, he has moved up to 14th position. Started 16th, but was as high as 10th. He's kind of found his rhythm. Tony Solare trying to get that 74 car going in the right direction again. Ran off track early at the very beginning of the race. And right behind him is a lurking Jeff Winter, who has passed Kenneth Schultz for 16th position. And Chris, this is even if Jeff Winter doesn't finish in the top 5 or maybe even the top 10, this is a good point salvaging night for the number 30 machine.
It certainly is, and that's one thing that these guys are all thinking about at this point. No one wants to be in a position where they're going to be scrambling for points. I mean, there's only 6 races left after tonight, and with all of them coming up, there's no guarantees for any of these drivers to make points. As we got a driver off track, it looks like Steven Vrooman went off track.
Vrooman has gone off track. He has rejoined. So the Tennessee native going to lose a spot to Jeff Winter through the carousels. Winter goes around the outside of the 00, the tough way around. We got Kenneth Schultz. We got to give a shout out to Kenneth. He is a Wisconsin native up there, and definitely a home race, wants to do the home fans proud. So Kenneth Schultz down 3 positions, but the 91 machine probably taking his time as he is known to do. Gil Gock, by the way, has taken that car to the garage with significant damage apparently. Not sure if he's going to be able to make it back out. Chuck Sweeting making his second race, won the pole last week. He's in 18th place. Dale Neerad has moved around Wayne Grossi and Adam Newton to put himself into 19th position. So after he went off, Brody Hanna's gone off track, and Lane Allen's gone off track in turn number 1. And Mike Watts is going to get around him.
Just doing the little bit of a swap between those 2 drivers. But even still, at that point, he didn't lose a lot of time on Person or Watts. He's still right there in the battle early on.
And Lane Allen, I think he got surprised. It looked like Bernard Person was going to let him go, and it looked like maybe he didn't expect it. I don't know if there was communication or not, obviously, but Lane Allen drove in deep, and that's what got him off course, as he was looking for 2nd place, instead is staring at 4th place. At the same time that was going on, Brody Hanna went off track, and that looks like he was under some pressure from Andrew Poliski. And let's see what happened to the 23 machine coming out of the last corner, and it looks like he just put a wheel wide there. Nothing. Oh, he got actually maybe some rear brake bias issues there. Locked it up kind of like Poliski did, but did a great job holding on to that machine.
Sure, we have a number of drivers that are going off track here. Not big mistakes or anything like that, just off into the sand pit, making it back on safely. But a lot of guys here early on making a mistake that could potentially end their race in the second half of this race.
Yeah, Tracy Powers, James Torrey, nothing major on either of those there that have gone off. Ralph Nolan did go off earlier. I don't think he went off that time. Rachel Hunt went off track and she is getting that car going again. Back up
That
front.
just goes to
Oh, sorry,
show
go ahead.
how difficult this track here is tonight. But the guy up front, Jeff Chandler, making it look easy with a 7-second lead over Bernard Person in that 8 machine.
Yeah, exactly right. It's 7.5 seconds now. And does that, with that caution coming, as we got Gary Griffith going off track, going out of, where is this at? This is turn 12. He regains it, but Randy McCanny is going to get around him. And now, all of a sudden, Brian Helm is in the mirror, along with Kevin Rupert. So this could be a big loss for Gary Griffith if he can't get that car going.
Yeah, a difficult night for a lot of these drivers. It's just a very difficult track here, Jared, and once you get out of rhythm once, it becomes easier each time, each corner really to do so again.
Exactly right. And we are about 4 laps from pits being closed and about 6 laps from cautions. Let's talk about, is there any pit strategy that could be going on? Do you pit early as you see Lane Allen get around Mike Watts?
I don't know that there's any benefit to pitting early with the pits closing 2 laps before that caution comes out. Really here, any amount of time on those tires is kind of too much, Jared, as it'll start to wear them out immediately as soon as you start sliding. And a lot of these corners, to be able to get around fast, you're going to have to slide.
Yeah, exactly right. You see Lane Allen has gotten back around Mike Watts there. And I think if you're somebody back here, maybe a Brody Hanna, maybe a Jeff Winter, Tony Solare, maybe even Richie Coy. Maybe those guys might look about pitting, as looks like Rachel Hunt took an excursion real quick in turn 1, but the 16 car is pointed in the right direction again.
And I don't know if the paint's correct for me, but it looks like she is not in that typical pink scheme that she's in. It looks like she's in a Reese's number 16 here tonight.
Yeah, and I think the team owner is working on the paint for her, and it will be out soon, I believe. This is I think the paint that was normally on the 51 machine, is not mistaken, is she almost runs wide, just like Ralph Nolan there. Tough little area on the track where they're at on right now. Rachel Hunt leaving Raging Moose a couple weeks ago, joining basically the Blackwater team with a subsidiary for Faster Sim Racing. And Chris, you look at some of these other drivers making some moves.
Once Bobby Terrell got into the 10th position, up 12 positions on the night, it seems like he has been comfortably sitting there, but right behind him,
I thought he was coming in.
It looked like he was definitely thinking about it as he's pulling over. Andrew Politsky is going to be able to get by on the 96.
And Richie Coy too. But Chris, you brought very good a point, and I think I know where you're going. He caught up to Bill Benedict in 9th, and he just never was able to get back around him, get around him at all. He just kind of got stuck there.
Yeah, he certainly did. And Politsky goes off track right there in front of Richie Coy and able to get around.
And Politsky battling with Bobby Terrell. He's going to hold off. That position right there. I thought he got a little loose. Holds on to it, and Politsky still salvaging 11th spot. But right now, Richie Coy is shown in 10th place. Bill Benedict in 9th. Richie Coy is only about 5 seconds behind Gary Griffith in 6th place.
But you said it right there, Jared. 5 seconds behind. And that's not even the leader. That's just 5 seconds behind. Right now, he is currently 22 seconds behind our leader, almost 23 seconds behind. I know with that caution, that's going to go away. But if you're any of these drivers up here, Chandler, Person, Allen, you've got to be thinking about the guys that started from the rear coming up through the pack like this.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And that is, if you can get a couple more positions here, maybe play some pit strategy, Chris. I mean, Richie Coy could be right back in this thing as this race goes on. You got Bobby Terrell. He's dropping back. Brody Hanna is about 4 seconds back, so no pressure there from the 23 on the 5. Jeff Winter is in 14th position now, so not too far out of the top 10. As you look at Randy McCanny, now we haven't talked a lot about him, but he is in what I call no man's land. There's nobody around him. 5 seconds behind somebody, 5 seconds ahead of somebody. What do you do, Chris, when you're in that position, when you're not racing anybody? How do you just kind of keep going in the race? Oh, Jeff Chandler's in. Apologies. Jeff Chandler has made an early pit stop.
Look at that. Jeff Chandler is going to be the one that decides that track position matters way more than leading at this caution flag, as he's going to bring that 31 machine in. And really, Jared, this is a great call for him, because unless anyone else decides that they're going to just stay out at this caution, this is going to give him the lead again.
Gary Griffith and Jeff Chandler, Richie Coy, Bobby Terrell, Jeff Winter all have come down pit road, Chris. As you see them all down at the bottom there, the 5 drivers, and these are all drivers in the points. Stephen Vrooman also in the pits. So we got some drivers making some decisions here as we have about 2 laps before the caution, the pits will be closed. On board Bernard Persson, it is 0.8 of a second between him and Lane Allen. Now, Chris, what do you do if you stayed out?
Well, at this point, you've made that bed, Jared. You're going to have to come in for the caution. And at this point, really the only strategy that you could do would be to take 2 tires only in fuel, but it's not going to be enough. Even with that pit stop, Jeff Chandler is still in 14th position.
It wasn't able to get back ahead, but Jeff Chandler, like you said, 14th position there. But you look at some of these other guys. Griffith comes out 16th. Richie Coy in 17th. He's got Bobby Terrell all over the back of him. They came out just ahead of Roy Collins there in the 62 machine there. So some interesting pit strategy. As you see, Vrooman has come out just ahead of Joe Flanagan. And Joe not having too good of a time right now. Jeff Winter in 22nd. He comes out just behind Ralph Nolans. And now Rachel Hunt has made her way to pit road.
At this point, Jared, these guys that just pitted, they really want to be taking it easy on those tires, just so that way they don't have to worry about them being any kind of flat spots or anything like that. They don't want to overwear these tires. Just get around here as smoothly as you can. And I think that's what Chandler, Gary Griffith, and Richie Cooley and Bobby Terrell are doing.
And I think they'll probably make an announcement here in just a second about pits being closed, Chris. And you see James Torrey heading on pit road as we look at the leaders going into turn 1.
And Bernard Persson hasn't got that much room between him and Lane Allen. Lane Allen only 7/10 behind him coming through the turn 1 here, going into the first hard right-hander. And these guys are really doing what they can to just kind of put down some good, decent lap times here. Both of them know the caution's just right around the corner. No need to get up here and race one another as hard as possible. Put yourself into an immediate danger situation. But now they're going into this hard braking zone with the left-hander here. This is where a lot of the action is going to happen. A lot of guys are going to make up a lot of time right here. We saw it yesterday in the actual NASCAR Cup Series race where teammates Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson made contact in that corner just with the amount of fade that those brakes can have. We may see something like that here even tonight. And you can see Allen can really get up to Persson coming through some of these braking zones, not letting him get away from him, not trying to put too much pressure on himself or Persson, but really able to get that car within a couple tenths of Persson just to let him know that he's there. A little bit of pressure, if you will.
Exactly right there, Chris. As pit road is closed now, so these drivers all now will have
inside, man.
Going on right now. But Chris, you look at these guys, Bernard Persson, Lane Allen, doing a pretty good job, and you know it's now the strategy has been made with Jeff Chandler. I just cannot believe him throwing that down like that. I just wouldn't expected the leader to do that.
No, and right then Lane Allen got a little bit off track. Didn't lose much time, just put one tire out into the grass, but that could have been dangerous right at this point coming up to get that caution flag here in the next lap or so.
So there you go. And these guys continuing to work through the race here, and Chris, Randy McCanny up to 4th place, and we are on lap 14 of 31. Caution will be coming out when the leader hits that back straightaway area. Chuck Sweeting off track.
Yeah, in Canada corner, he just did a little bit of sliding through that corner. Barely made contact with the wall, Jared. Was able to get it going in the right direction, but unfortunately lost a lot of time.
Exactly right. So these guys coming up very soon. Once they get around this little area here, they will be heading into the caution area. Bernard Person leading with Lane Allen in 2nd. Mike Watts still in 3rd. Randy McCanny in 4th. And Kevin Rupert has pushed his way around Brian Helm to 5th place. And we look at our race guys that have pitted. Jeff Chandler is in 13th.
And it looks like Adam Newton has indeed crashed as well, Jared.
Yellow should be coming out any second.
All right, man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
And at that point, you can pretty much feel everyone in this field took a deep breath and sigh, and finally, for the first time since the green flag came out, have actually had a chance to relax.
Exactly right. And a stressful time for these drivers trying to pick out that strategy, but it is all good now. Bernard Person will lead them under the yellow flag with Lane Allen in 2nd. We got to Kevin Rupert. Poliski up to 6th place there. Brian Helm in 7th. Bill Benedict 8th. Brody Hanna and Tony Solare, your top 10. With Dale Neerad and Kenneth Schultz, your top 12 that have not pitted yet in the race. Jeff Chandler 13th. Grossi, Griffith, Sweeting, your top 15. Followed by Bobby Terrell, Richie Coy, Rory Collins in the top 20, just ahead of Jeff Winter, as these guys will all make their way around the track, Chris. And now we get to see what's going to happen in this race, and if those guys that pitted early, if that was the right call.
Certainly will. And one thing that's interesting, Jared, Bobby Terrell was able to get around Richie Coy. Richie Coy actually was out in front of the number 5 machine, was able to pass him in that little stretch here before the caution came out. So that will be interesting to watch, whether or not if Richie was indeed just saving his car up, or if Bobby Terrell is just that much better.
And you see, Chris, look how far this track is for these drivers. They are coming around right now through this back area, but the pace car is going into turn 5 right now. So it kind of gives you an idea with that track map where everybody is currently on the track, as we're waiting for a lot of these drivers to catch up to the field here. But we are under caution, and this is a new thing. Not the first time we've had a caution under a road course, and boy, it's brought out the strategies. We can't talk about it enough.
No, we certainly can. We can see that. We know that Jeff Chandler and those group of guys have that pit before this caution came out. They're most likely going to cycle through into the top of the leaderboard here, but a lot of different strategy could play out here, as guys are going to do whatever they can to make up position on pit road. I just don't think that anyone's going to be brave enough to take 2 tires, though, Jared.
Yeah, we were some of the guys watching. Doyle Lawrence out there, one of our top commenters, was talking just about that. He said you have to take 4 tires. The track is way too abrasive to take 2, and if you take 2, you might as well not take any, because it's basically just nail in the coffin if you do. So, and I can't agree more, Chris. This track, you heard the drivers. If you watch the real race throughout the weekend, they talked about this track is as worn out as Rockingham or Old Darlington was. Those type of tracks that just are known to eat up tires. Road America is on that list.
It certainly is, and that's one thing that these guys really have to deal with here, as because of how abrasive that it really can be, makes it a little bit easier to slide through some of these corners. It just doesn't have the grip that it probably would have if it was freshly paved.
Now, Chris, we know that we bring up a race analysis here real quick here that we did at the beginning of the race. The pit window is 12 to 18 laps. We saw these guys that all, Chandler and all those guys, they pitted on going to lap 12. They can make 18 laps of fuel. does anybody gamble and stay out here and pit later and take less fuel at the end?
Not if they want to stay there.
Hey, you know, you got to put out all the things, Chris. You don't know.
You're absolutely right. That is something that these guys can really think of. But honestly, Jared, it's going to be such a hard time to stay out in front of these guys with fresh tires. By doing that, it just doesn't seem worth it to me. Now, I'm not the one in every one of these driver's seats, so who knows? We may be in for a surprise.
All right. Well, we're about to find out as we have everybody looking down pit road, and let's see if anybody's going to stay out here. Looks like everybody's going to come in. Even Jeff Chandler. Jeff Chandler is coming back in, Chris. Griffith stays out.
And
Coy
that
stays
is a
out.
surprise to me, but at this point, that's going to hand the lead over to Gary Griffith, and wow.
I didn't see that coming. I don't have that in my notes, Chris. Apologies. So if we look, Gary Griffith, Richie Coy, and Jeff Winter. So 2 of those drivers had to start from pit road, and Gary Griffith was in 6th place. Everybody else has decided that they want to go ahead and come back in, including a couple drivers that pitted under that before that caution.
Looking at the pit strategy, Jared, they couldn't make it on fuel.
I think they can make it. I think it's 18 laps on gas, Chris. Or 19 laps, sorry.
I think you're right. It's 19 laps, but it was going to put them in a situation where if we ended up, well, I guess it doesn't matter because we don't have green white checkers here at the road courses. Never mind. I take it all back.
Yeah, I don't. I just maybe the fresh rubber. Maybe Jeff Chandler just felt like that was the best decision. I'm very curious as to what happened with Jeff Chandler there, and why he came back in. But hey, it's changed the race up a little bit as you see some stragglers coming down pit road. Ralph Nolan, looks like Rachel Hunt is in, as well as Tracy Powers and James Torrey, Adam Newton down the way as well. So now Gary Griffith there leading, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his first laps of the year. And I think if I talked to him, I think that he would say he probably would not have gambled on leading his first laps of the year at a road course.
And I went back through and looked, and it looks like Jeff Chandler got off track a little bit before the caution flag came out. But Jared, he didn't hit anything, so it's just interesting to see why he stayed out. We'll have to figure out if we can catch up with him later and find out what his plan was.
Well, this is very interesting. What he has done there, but we have a little bit of time under the caution here. It is a double file restart, but Gary Griffith, Richie Coy, Jeff Winter, Bernard Person, your top 4, Lane Allen in 5th. And now you look at these drivers. Are you licking your chops if you're Bernard Person, or are you a little bit concerned with those guys on the alternate strategy ahead of you?
All of the above, Jared. At this point, the best thing that happened to Bernard Person was Jeff Chandler pitting, because that put him way behind him. And looking at it, he ended up losing quite a few positions too.
Yeah, I don't see anything on his pit lane time that makes me think that he had damage. Very interesting, the decision by Jeff Chandler. But Jeff Chandler has won 3 races, including 2 at road courses. Number 1, it could be because he has won 3 races and he's like, hey, let's try something. Or number 2, he probably knows better than what I do, probably.
Absolutely. But what that's going to do is going to put Gary Griffith, Richie Coy, Jeff Winter, Bernard Person, and Lane Allen, your top 5 here. Richie Coy had to start in the rear, Jared. He's now in 2nd position.
I don't know if we're having some sort of graphical issue, or is Richie Coy missing his hood?
Richie Coy is missing his hood.
All right. Did not get any indication that he had any wrecks or anything in this race, but that hood is gone on the number 19 machine. So I don't know how that's going to affect aerodynamics, but we'll find out as the pace car is about to get 1 to go here.
Yeah, and looking through it, I don't see any indication of where that may have happened. But the best part about it, though, Jared, is that really, when it comes down to it, that's not really going to hurt him too much. Just the on the long straightaways here, going into turn one, particularly, and into Canada corner. But who knows? Maybe that'll help cool that car off.
And we'll see. But let's look at where all your favorite drivers are right now. And we talked about the top 5 already. Randy McKinney in 7th. Then we got Kevin Rupert, Andrew Poliski, Brody Hanna, your top 10. Bobby Terrell, our big mover of the race, up 11. He's in 11th just alongside Brian Helm. Dale Neerad and Steven Vrooman back there in 13th and 14th. Jeff Chandler and Wayne Grossi in 15th and 16th. Kenneth Schultz, the Wisconsin native, in 17th alongside Tony Solare. Joe Flanagan and Bill Benedict in 19th and 20th. Rory Collins and Adam Newton back in 21st and 22nd. Chuck Sweeting, Ralph Nolan, Rachel Hunt, Tracy Powers, and James Torrey will line up all the drivers that are left in the race. Gil Gach retired with damage earlier.
Yeah, and everyone except for Gil Gach are on the same lap here, Jared. That's kind of the best thing about these road courses. Pretty much puts everyone out of contention to be at least a top 15 car.
This is going to be a extremely tough track to pass on. It's one of the, not as hard as Sonoma. I almost said Sears Point, shows my age, but it's not as hard as Sonoma, but it is a difficult track. And I just wonder, some of these fast guys back there, Jeff Chandler, Tony Solari, Joe Flanagan, Brody Hanna, what are they going to do back there? Now we got to restart. Do you have to amp up the aggression knowing that there's only 15 laps to go?
I don't know that you can. Really, you've got to exercise more patience than anything, Jared, as you've got to work your way up through here. Even though it doesn't seem like a lot, 15, 14 laps here, that's still a long time at this racetrack with it being 4 miles.
Yeah, it's 63 and a half miles by the math there. So quite a distance, and I apologize to Gary Griffith. He has led 43 laps before tonight, so not his first laps led of the season.
I think he'll forgive you as long as he can keep the lead.
But he's got some road coursers alongside. We saw Bernard Persson and Lane Allen doing battle. Mike Watts in there as well. Gary Griffith is going to have his hands full with Richie Coy on this restart. And let's keep in mind the fact that Bernard Persson, our defending champion, hasn't won a race this year. Gary Griffith hasn't won a race this year. Mike Watts, Lane Allen, Kevin Rupert, Andrew Poliski, all in the top 10, haven't won a race this year. And if Gary Griffith can hold on to this thing, boy, oh boy, well, we're going to have some interesting shakeup in the playoff standings. But we're going to work our way through this pace lap, Chris. What are we going to expect when we go back to green here?
I mean, we talked about the aggression early on. We talked about how difficult turn one is when you're by yourself, let alone when you got other cars next to you. And we're about to see it here. I mean, it's going to be a great opportunity to see all of these cars and how they are able to get through turn one. I'm definitely watching from the blimp.
There you go. And we are going to be watching as these guys come around. So we're coming up turn 13 into turn 14 as we're going to make our final caution of the night. It doesn't matter if they all pile into turn one. No caution will be thrown, likely. And the pace car is off. Gary Griffith in the 12 will lead him down with Richie Coy alongside here as we're about ready to get going with 15 laps to go. Here we go, up the hill.
Green.
And green flag is back out, and we are underway at the Road America 200K.
What a dead even start between the two up front as they're still side by side coming to turn one.
Here they go into turn number one. Who's going to persevere? It's going to be, I don't know, Richie Coy on the outside, it looks like. Gary Griffith battling back on the inside. Everybody fanning out behind him. Coy's to the lead. Bernard Person's going to look on the outside now.
Wow, Coy really pushed Gary Griffith into the inside corner there, and that really was able to give him the momentum off. Looks like Wayne Grossi was involved in a wreck right behind him.
Tracy Powers also involved. We'll take a look at that when everything dies down. Here we go. Lane Allen has gotten around. Oh no, Mike Watts is trying to get back around Lane Allen into the braking zone. He's going to take two. He's going to take Jeff Winter too. Or is he? Up the hill into turn number 7. Winter's going to hold on for now. Watts shoves it down in there. Winter again holding his own on the outside. This is not easy to do as they're 2x2 through some of the hardest sections of the track. And Watts finally is able to get around Jeff Winter.
But Winter definitely did not make it easy. Now behind them, the 6 car there trying to get inside lane Allen to thinks better of it. Man, really deep braking zones that these guys are doing, trying to get around each other.
And if Jeff Winter is able to hold on to a top 10 from this is a great strategy call for him. But right now, it is working out so far for Gary Griffith as all this battling has actually allowed him to kind of scoot out a little bit. Richie Coy the same way. He's only got Bernard Persson behind him. And, man, Bernard Persson, our defending race winner, you know he wants to win. Our defending champion, I should say. He wants to win.
Absolutely. He talked about it at one point that he is just feeling like he's missing something from his season, and right there it is. He doesn't have a win. If he can get that win, that's going to make him feel a lot more comfortable heading into the playoffs, because right now he's still doing pretty well in points, if I do remember correctly, Jared.
Yeah, he is inside the top 10 in points. He's 6th place. But you know, if we still have 8 races to go, and we have 8 positions up for grabs, so it's not a done deal yet. But right now, 13 laps to go. Richie Coy leading by a second over Bernard Persson. Gary Griffith a further 3 seconds back, and Mike Watts has caught him.
Yeah, Mike Watts in that number 3 machine just looks really comfortable in that car now that he's caught Gary Griffith, and really trying to figure out where best to pass. We talked about it. It's an incredibly difficult track to pass at, and that's what's making it so much more difficult for him. And all the while, Bernard Persson and Richie Coy, they're enjoying a 3-second lead over this bunch.
Looking back at Jeff Chandler, our race leader from earlier in the race, he led the first 12 laps, won the pole. He has moved from 17th to 12th. He's just gotten around Dale Nearad as he is coming down into turn number 5 here. He's got Brian Helm in front of him. Brian Helm with a wide, oh my goodness, and Jeff Chandler makes a move. And that's going to move him up another spot. I don't think Brian Helm expected him to go in there. And Helm locks it up.
Yeah, I think it would have been incredibly hard to recognize that was going to happen. Jeff Chandler just drove it deep down into the corner there. That was a pretty powerful move by that number 31 machine.
And it looked like Brian Helm was trying to get himself angled to get a nice run up the hill. And Jeff Chandler said, I'm going to outbrake you into this corner. Brian Helm going to be the big loser on that one. He's going to drop from 11th all the way back to 20th position. Helm is currently 12th in points as Chandler is caught up to the back of Bobby Terrell, who was our big gainer of the race until Richie Coy played some strategy and is up 22 positions tonight.
Well, and at this point, Jared, just looking at it, the Terrell is still 10 seconds over, almost 11 seconds behind our leader. That means Jeff Chandler still got a long way to go if he's going to catch up to our leader, Richie Coy.
And Terrell looked like he might have just let Chandler go in that braking zone. He's going to go ahead and get by Jeff Chandler, or Jeff Chandler's going to get by Bobby Terrell. So Jeff Chandler back into the top 10. He's got Kevin Rupert. And now once you get back into that top 10, you know, Chris, you look ahead, he's only 5 seconds behind Mike Watts, but then you look even deeper, he's only 3 seconds ahead of Gary Griffith, or behind Gary Griffith in 4th place.
Yeah, that's going to be hard or something to keep an eye on as he's so far back, but he is picking them down as he's inside Rupert going here into 1.
And Pepto Joe Jr., that's Joe Flanagan's son, said the Richie Coy's hood only there for decoration anyway, and it seems to not be affecting him too much as Jeff Chandler tried to make a move on Kevin Rupert, elected against it. Ahead of them, we got Andrew Poliski battling with Lane Allen. He gets around Lane Allen, so move Poliski up to 6th place.
As we're about to head into that deep braking zone, Jeff Chandler underneath Kevin Rupert in that number 1 machine is already going to clear him going into the corner. Looks like he's going to, oh man, it looked like he was going to try to go under Randy McCanney there as well, but thinks better of it. He'll have to try another lap.
I think that would have been an ambitious move. And Dale Nearad spins it coming off that corner. He is against the wall down there in the 03, so the tough night for Dale Nearad continues to go on, and he has finally got that car refired. And like I said, we're going to take a look at some of these accidents as soon as we have a chance to do so. But right now, everything has been crazy as McCanny lets Chandler go pretty easily. And ahead of them, Andrew Poliski gets ahead of Jeff Winter. Poliski up to 5th place. He's now hunting down Gary Griffith.
Jared, we talked a little bit about it earlier, but this aggressive racing by Jeff Chandler, these guys that are letting him go, they could be hoping that he'll run his stuff out.
Oh, Lane Allen loose. Sorry, he's in the wall. Loose in the kink, and Lane Allen has hit the wall hard. Hard impact. He is all over the track, and somebody else is off the track. Is that Brody Hanna? Almost hits him. Wow. And Lane Allen, that might be terminal, Chris. That car is destroyed.
Yeah, Lane Allen is already towed back to the pits. I think that's going to do it for that number 14 machine. Man, that is such a tricky place because it is such a high-speed corner. It kind of is a little bit of a deceiving because you don't necessarily think of it as a corner, but it's definitely a braking zone there, Jared.
Andrew Poliski looking on Gary Griffith, and man, we'll take another look at Lane Allen's wreck as well, but my goodness, I feel for Lane Allen. He's been so good as Andrew Poliski gets underneath Gary Griffith for 4th place. He's 6 seconds behind Mike Watts, and he's got 11 laps to get there. But Lane Allen has been a tremendous road course driver, but that kink can catch you out so quick, and that's exactly what happened to the 14 driver. Heavy impact and likely out of the race. James Torrey has also taken his car to the garage with some heavy damage.
And looking at the times and the gap between Jeff Chandler and Richie Coy has actually gotten bigger, Jared. This is not good news if you're a 31 fan of Jeff Chandler, as he's still picking off cars left and right, but still not exactly in a position where he's going to be catching the leader anytime soon.
Well, the inverse of that is if you're a Bernard Persson fan, he has caught Richie Coy. It is now 0.8 of a second between these two drivers and 4 laps difference on tires. And Andrew Poliski is also coming forward. He is actually the fastest driver on track right now. Turned the fastest sector 3 times this lap, so he is getting it. And Richie Coy has got to manage this tire. He can hold him off, and he can be faster, but he's got to get through this little transitional period. And the kink is what's hurting him right now, is Bernard Persson able to get through there a lot quicker.
Yeah, in the last couple of laps, it's kind of traded off about which one of these two were faster. But it looks like this last 2 laps, it's been Persson. So maybe our defending champion will be able to get up here and claim his first victory of the season, Jared.
And Bernard Persson, I was talking to him last night. Oh, and Richie Coy goes wide on the last corner, and that's going to make it easy for Bernard Persson, the 8 car to the front.
And already a 2-second lead for Persson. Richie Coy just getting a little bit off track there. Easy to do in that corner there, Jared.
And let's take a look and see what happened to Richie Coy. He's coming up over the hill, and we've seen a lot of rear brake issues into this corner. And guess what? It is not a rear brake issue. He just didn't get the brakes down, or it probably those old tires, maybe a low fuel load. Car was just not handling right through there. Guns it off the corner, and did a good job holding on to that machine.
All that, and he's still in second place with over 2 seconds lead over Mike Watts.
And let's we're going to take a look while we have just a second here to take a look at some of the accidents that have happened here. Let's take a look at Lane Allen and see what happened to him. This was on lap number 20, lap 20. So there he is through the kink, and he just gets it loose, tries to hold on to it, hits the inside wall, and then catches a bump, and that's what did it. The bump shot him right back in the track, and you'll see here Brody Hanna has to take evasive action. He got off course himself, and Lane Allen had to get out of the way there.
But kudos to Lane Allen, as he recognized that he was going to have to tow almost immediately, put the car in reverse, Jared, to get up against that wall so that he could get out of the racing groove as quickly as possible. Thanks, heads up move there by Lane Allen.
See what happened to James Torrey as well, and looks like there's an accident ahead of him. Joe Flanagan looks like he spun. We didn't get indication that that's what happened, but Joe Flanagan spun, and I don't see anything that actually happened with James Torrey on this replay here. Or wait, hold on. Maybe I do. Let's take a look here. And it looks like no. So that was a false positive on the crash there. And we also have Wayne Grossi involved in a little bit of an incident. And I think this started with Joe Flanagan possibly. No, there's Joe Flanagan here. And Wayne Grossi gets in deep. Oh, he gets on the grass and loops it. And he took a shortcut through the turn and came back up on the track. And Joe Flanagan, nowhere to go, hits him. That's what happened to Joe Flanagan. Tough break for the 53 machine. They have all since gone on since then.
And it looks like a little bit of connection issues for Chuck Sweeting as he was going into turn number 5 and just went straight and immediately disappeared off of track.
So looks like possibly a disconnect issue or internet issue there, as it says that he has had that internet issue, unfortunately, for Chuck Sweeting. Right now, it is Bernard Persson. He has a 2-second lead over Richie Coy, who has actually kind of wheeled him back in somehow there. And Jeff Chandler is 14 seconds behind, but he has made it to 5th place. So getting a recovery on that number 31 machine. Gary Griffith holding on to 6. That's where he's running most of the race. He's going to let Randy McCanny go, and he is going to drop to 7th place. Jeff Winter, who also stayed out and made that gamble, he is up to 8th. He was running 17th at one point in time in this race, so this could be a net win for him. But he's got some tough competition behind him with Kevin Rupert and Tony Solare. Also, Stephen Vrooman having a good race as well in 12th place. But Chris, you look at this strategy call by Richie Coy. So far, I don't know if it's worked out for him.
No, at this point, it doesn't seem to be working out that much for him. But he has been able to maintain his pace. He had lost about 2 seconds on our leader. After going off track. Well, he's maintained it, Jared. There's basically been a dead even laps between these two drivers, with the exception of the one lap that he was off track. And it doesn't seem like it was all that long ago, and that's because it wasn't, Jared. It was only 2 laps ago.
Exactly right. And now Richie Coy's got that gap under 1.5 seconds. Mike Watts has gone off track, and Andrew Poliski is gunning for him coming up the hill, and Poliski is gonna move to the podium. So put the 96 car up to 3rd place, and Poliski's been the fastest driver on the track currently, only driver in the 214s. Can that 96 car chase down our leaders? I don't know if he has enough time, but getting around that 3 car is definitely going to help. Further 6 seconds back is Jeff Chandler. He is right now, that last lap, let's see what this lap is for Jeff Chandler. And he's going to come across the line with a 2:15.77, which puts him about 5th quickest actually on the track right now. Actually, Jeff Winter, or no, apologies, that hadn't updated, so he is 4th quickest on the track right now, just ahead of Mike Watts. I think he's gonna catch up to Mike Watts here in a little bit, Chris.
Yeah, I can definitely see him catching up to Mike Watts. Unfortunately, I don't think he's got enough car to be able to get back up to Persson. You mentioned that he was the 4th quickest. Well, the quickest lap time on the actual track, Richie Coy in 2nd place.
And that gap, if you look up there, folks, it has come down. It has come down a lot. It is down under a second now between these two drivers. And it's going to fluctuate throughout the lap, but it's around 1 second basically throughout this lap. Richie Coy chasing Bernard Persson back down. Bernard Persson hasn't won yet this year. He's hungry, and I don't want to say he hasn't, but I don't believe he has won a road course race in his career, which would be huge for him. And Chris, man, this is getting down to the wire.
It certainly is, but this race is not over, Jared. With 8 laps to go, a lot of corners that you can make mistakes here. We saw Richie Coy make one earlier. Now Bernard Persson's up front. If Richie Coy can get up there, put a little bit of pressure on him, might be able to get Persson to make a mistake here, and that could change the entire complexion of this race for these two.
Yeah, exactly right. And you see the ticker up there. It's actually back to 1.5 seconds between those two drivers. So Richie Coy struggling through some portions of the track.
Kind of a cat and mouse game between these two, and that's exactly what they want at this point. If you're Bernard Persson, you don't mind Richie Coy being faster than you 1 lap as long as the next lap you're faster than him. That's what he did this lap. He's looking to be almost, looks like 6/10 quicker on this lap.
Well, don't look now. Andrew Poliski has whittled off another 2 seconds off the lead. He has got that thing down to, at the line, 6.5 seconds.
And that's 2 seconds in one lap, Jared. That's just how big this track can be. That's a pretty incredible feat.
Andrew Poliski, a rookie this year, he is 17th in point. And that is the 17th in the regular standing, so he would actually be basically 18th overall. So he needs a win, and he needs some help to get himself in the playoff contention. He can actually see Bernard Person and Richie Coy at the end of this straightaway now. This could be a battle. This could be a driver that's going to sneak up on both of these guys if they're not careful. It's Poliski continuing to just show what that 96 car has.
Yeah, absolutely, Jared. Looking at the lap time, he had almost made up an entire second just between turns 1 and 5.
Oh, a little bit loose through turn number 6, but so far still doing a really good job. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Up front, it's still a second and a half-ish between Bernard Person and Richie Coy, as you see them both on our screen right now. But Chris, now, where do we even start? We also have Jeff Chandler. Now, he isn't making the gap up, but he could be in a contention for the 4th place at least. He is catching up to Mike Watts. And you look back a little bit further, Gary Griffith getting passed now by Kevin Rupert. And also, it looks like Bobby Terrell in this mix, Tony Solare in this mix, a big gaggle of cars here coming through the carousel right now. This is a battle, Chris, for 8th all the way to 11th spot.
Yeah, these guys are nose to tail here, just showing exactly how difficult road racing can be, just because they're not able to get around one another. And at this point, Kevin Rupert doing everything he can to stay in front of these guys.
And we got a couple, as you see, Bobby Terrell showing his nose and does not make the move on Gary Griffith. We got a couple of guys that have had issues. We got Joe Flanagan in the 53 machine. He's chasing down Brody Hanna, and this is going into turn number 1. So, he blows the engine. Joe Flanagan blew up. So the 53 car from that contact with the 7, done for the night with the blown engine. Brian Helm going down the front straightaway, going into turn number 1. Everything looking kosher here. He just gets off track, spins it, and also does appear that maybe a blown engine on that car. And that could have been from damage for both of those drivers. But unfortunate night for those drivers. So Helm, Flanagan, Sweeting, Torrey, and Gach are all out. Lane Allen has rejoined the track. He is 2 laps down in 23rd position. But right now it's Bernard Person, defending champion in the number 8 machine. 1.8 seconds ahead of Richie Coy. Catching both of them is Andrew Poliski. But now all of a sudden that gap has started to stabilize, Chris. And Poliski wasn't able to put that lap time that he's been down anymore.
No, he's not able to do so. Kind of interesting just because of what happened. And actually, he caught the edge of the track and got really, really loose. Never got off the track. But if you see, Mike Watts has now caught him again.
And now we have a big battle for 3rd position. And we got Jeff Chandler. He is about 6 seconds, 5.5 seconds behind Mike Watts currently. Randy McCanney a further 3.5 behind Chandler. And he has just gotten around Jeff Winter, who has actually started to kind of stabilize his lap times and pull ahead of Kevin Rupert. Rupert was on the back bumper of that car, but I think Rupert might be mirror driving a little bit because he's got 3 hungry drivers eating him up in the back end.
And I want to give a shout out to Lane Allen. He repaired that 14 machine back out on track. He's currently right behind Mike Watts. And you can see he's doing everything he possibly can to maintain all the points that he has. And he's currently scored 23rd, the first car 1 lap down.
Yeah, with Flanagan and Helm having their unfortunate issues, it has allowed Lane Allen to gain 2 spots that he might not have been able to. Lane Allen's not a quitter. I mean, the guy will, if the car will drive, he'll get it back out there, get it fixed, and take what he can get. And man, it sucks for Lane. He was in such a good position. Brody Hanna has gone off track in the number 23, but doesn't look like any severe issue there as he is still moving.
A great job by Brody Hanna. It looks like he was going into the it looks like he was going through the kink and just got a little bit sideways and was able to save it, and just incredible job by Brody.
Oh, that's no, it's not the kink. That is Canada corner. He holds on to that thing, and my goodness, he just got a wheel, just a wheel off, and does lose a couple positions, but he can live to fight another day. But right now, Chris, that gap between Richie Coy and Bernard Persson, it's just kind of stabilizing around 1.7 seconds. Is there something in the tank for the 19 car, or is Bernard Persson going to walk away with this thing?
Well, it's stabilized. I mean, looking at the lap times, really, these two have done a really good job of trading off the laps.
Adam Newton in the 20 machine has had an excursion. Oh, heavy damage on the 20 machine, and he has stopped on the track. Oh, he's getting it going now. He's waiting for somebody to go around. Let's see what happened to the 20 car. So he's going into turn number 1. Steven Vrooman just ahead of him. No, he gets down on the outside of the grass there, just clips the grass. Carr gets loose, tries to hold on to it, and I think that damage was actually already happened. And Richie Coy's gone off track.
Yes, he went off track again. The kink wasn't actually off track for that long, but just was able to slow him down just enough to prevent him from any real damage there. Got really lucky, that number 19 did.
Richie Coy pushing that machine, knowing how much a win would mean to that team, and getting a second win on the year would pretty much, obviously he's pretty much guaranteed as it is, third in points with a win, but another win would be sweet to take into the playoffs. But Richie Coy now 2.5 seconds, and now you got to kind of start looking. Andrew Poliski and Mike Watts are catching up now, but only 4 laps to go here at Road America.
Yeah, they're catching up, but still not anywhere close to Bernard Persson. At this point, with his 2-second advantage over Richie Coy, Persson just needs to hit his marks as frequently and as correctly as possible just to get this number 8 machine to victory lane. It's still a long ways to go, with it being roughly 16 more miles that he's going to have to go to get around here. But man, at this point, he's looking good to get at least a podium here tonight.
I'd say he's looking very good to get at least the podium, and looking pretty good to get a win. As you see, Bernard Persson, there's the gap. 2 seconds, it isn't much, but it is a lot on a road course. Mike Watts, deeper, he gets loose in turn number 5. He's going to lose a ton of time to Andrew Poliski. And now Jeff Chandler is entering the conversation for a podium. He has caught these guys. He's actually taken the lead from 15 seconds down to 10 seconds. I don't think he's going to be able to get to the lead. I mean, he's only getting about a second a lap, and there's only 4 laps to go, but he might get to a podium, Chris.
He certainly will, and that'll be an incredible job by Jeff Chandler. Still a little uncertain of why he pitted, so if he can get up to a podium, we can ask him.
Exactly right. Looking back further, we had that battle. Kevin Rupert in that group, Bobby Terrell, Tony Solare. Now Solare, oh man, Bobby Terrell looking underneath Gary Griffith. That's not a great passing zone, and Terrell has to get out of it going into turn number 8 there. Griffith doing a great job holding him off. Looking out the back of that 12 car. And Gary Griffith, you know how bad he wants that top 10 position here tonight. And Tony Solare, who I think is probably disappointed with how his race has gone, he also wants a top 10. Battling so hard that they've actually let Kevin Rupert get away. Now Bobby Terrell is going to look on the inside into Canada corner. Can't quite get it done.
And what that did was put Tony Solare right there on the quarter panel of the 5. Solare had to get out of it just to not get into Terrell.
Gary Griffith, and these are, big battles here. Gary Griffith having a great run tonight. He gambled on that strategy, led some laps, and bonus points help at the end of the day. But we'll have to see what happens there. Is Gary Griffith actually able to expand that gap out just a little bit? Brody Hanna goes off track again, and he has lost the spot to Rory Collins. Wayne Grossi in 17th. We also got Kenneth Schultz kind of by himself, and he has just passed Bill Benedict for that position. Then we got Dale Nearad recovering to 14th. Roy Collins up into 15th, just ahead of Brody Hanna. Wayne Grossi, Steven Vrooman in 18th. Rachel Hunt in the 19th position. Adam Newton in 20th, hanging out there, just trying to make some laps, and Tracy Powers is actually catching him for a top 20. He's going to actually pass him, Adam Newton, with significant damage to that 20 car, just trying to run out the laps. Ralph Nolan, the last driver on the lead lap, currently in 22nd position, Chris.
The battle for third position here has heated up even more so as Mike Watts is all over the back of Andrew Poliski in that 96 machine, doing everything he can to figure out how to get around the 96. I think he's a little bit better, Jared, but just not able to get around him. Lane Allen is right there with them with his damaged machine, not letting these guys get too far. And then right back in the mirror, Jeff Chandler.
Yeah, and Lane Allen's not going to get in this battle. And he's going to let Jeff Chandler go. So classy move by the 14 machine. No interest to cause any issues with the lead group. He was just kind of riding there. Definitely liked the move. Andrew Poliski is now got heat, and it's coming in the orange color of heat as Jeff Chandler has now caught these guys. He's only a second and a half behind Poliski. Poliski a little bit loose through Canada corner, but we are down to 2 laps to go, Chris.
We certainly are. And looking back up front, Richie Coy has made up a little bit of time on Bernard Persson. He was 0.4 of a second quicker the last lap coming to the start finish here. It looks like he's also made up a little bit more time, and yes, he's made up 0.3 this past lap. So that's 0.7 in the last 2 laps he's put on catching Bernard Persson. But in order to be able to catch him and pass him is completely different things.
Well, now you might as well just let it all hang out. And if you go off course, as long as you don't pound the wall, you're probably going to finish in second place. And I would just let it go at this point. He is letting it go. He is down to almost a second now, as he has really given that a workout on that machine. Back to third place real quick. That is Andrew Poliski. Mike Watts and now Jeff Chandler has joined the conversation. Not quite closing up as much as I thought, and Poliski actually pulling out from Mike Watts just a little bit. But we have a couple battles here in the final stages of the race here tonight.
Are putting everything out there, every single corner. It looks like Richie Coy has that machine completely sideways, doing everything he can to catch Bernard Persson.
Can Bernard Persson win his first race of the year? Hard to believe. The defending champion taking this long to be in conversation. He's had 1 lap led coming into tonight. That was all the way back at Daytona. The first race of the year, he led 1 lap. He hasn't led since. He's only finished in the top 5 3 times this year, and he's made every race. It's been a tough year for the defending champion, but tonight, Chris, in the 20th race, he could finally punch his playoff ticket officially.
Well, hey, it's better late than never, Jared, and that's what Bernard Persson is trying to do here and the lead here tonight. But man, Richie Coy is not making it any easier, as they've been basically dead even the entire lap.
They do have lap traffic ahead. Ralph Nolan Jr., who we spoke to in our pre-race, is up there as well. And Chris, first off, I want to shout out everybody back at the on the Full Throttle chats out there on Facebook and YouTube for joining in tonight. It's been great to have you guys along. A lot of you out there watching. We have the white flag in hand. Ralph Nolan pulls out of the way. Bernard Persson will take the white flag one final time here at Road America. Gary Griffith. Oh my goodness, we got something going on back here. Gary Griffith's in the wall. What has happened to Gary Griffith? So let's take a look at the replay here, Chris. Through the kink, and it's the same thing that happened to Lane Allen. Got a tire off. He actually holds on to that. And what in the heck is going on here?
Go a little bit farther down, going into the Canada corner.
Oh!
Looks like Bobby Terrell gave him a little bit of a shove going into the corner. Spun that 12 machine around.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And that, we'll take a look at that. I don't know what happened there, but that is a tough break for Gary Griffith, who is running in the top 10, and he is going to be relegated to 14th position. And he's got Brody Hanna and Roy Collins breathing down his neck now with a damaged car. Brody Hanna is going to make the move into turn number 1. That car is down on power, and Griffith just is trying, and Hanna's trying. Positions at bay here. And we see Roy Collins behind him go off track. Our leaders, they are going into the kink right now, Chris. And we're staying with this battle for just a second here as Brody Hanna's all over the back of the 12 machine as Gary Griffith trying to recover a little bit here. Into turn 5. Brody Hanna deep on the brakes, locks it down. Gary Griffith locks it down, and Brody Hanna is going to outlock Gary Griffith and move Brody Hanna up a spot into 14th position.
Richie Coy's giving it everything he can up front, but it's going to be Bernard Person going through these last few corners. It looks like our defending champion, Jared, he's going to get the win coming out of the last corner down the straightaway. At this point, unless he blows up, runs out of fuel, he's going to take the victory here at Road America.
There it is, the flagman with the flag in the hand, and Bernard Person, after 20 races, 1 lap led all season, and Bernard Person will hold off Richie Coy by 1.2 seconds to grab the win. Andrew Poliski will hold on to his first career podium in 3rd place, holding off Jeff Chandler, who got around Mike Watts on that last lap, and gets into 4th place. And then we have further back Randy McKinney coming up the hill. He'll get 6th place, holding off Jeff Winter and Kevin Rupert. That was a little bit, could have been a little bit of a battle there if we had some more laps there. Bobby Terrell will tentatively hold on to 10th place, holding off Kenneth Schultz and Bill Benedict.
This race was incredible all the way down to the finish. A lot of different things happening all over the track. Almost impossible to keep up with everything that happened. Somewhere back in that lap, Ralph Nolan Jr. went off track, ended up getting stuck in the wall, jumped to the pits to end his night. Not the way he wanted it to go. But man, so many different things. Action was everywhere, Jared.
And speaking of action, Gary Griffith had a great run off the last corner. Nearly got Brody Hanna at the line. Wayne Grossi will come home 16th, just ahead of Roy Collins. In 17th, Stephen Vrooman, solid run for him in 18th position. Rachel Hunt keeps the car on the track. She's going to finish in 19th position here tonight. Adam Newton, 20th. Tracy Powers, 21st. Lane Allen, 22nd. Ralph Nolan, as you said, Chris, wrecked on the last lap, unfortunately, and he will drop to 23rd. So let's see. There's so much stuff going on. Let's see what happened to Gary Griffith and Bobby Terrell. I think that's the first one we want to start with here. And we look out the nose of the... here we go. So Gary Griffith, he just missed the braking zone. He did miss the braking zone because he locks up and he goes off track himself. And sometimes when you're behind somebody, you're so focused on that car, Chris, and you just kind of forget where you are on the track.
Absolutely. Plus, coming to that white flag, you want every position possible, and you're going to do whatever you can to drive harder than you have any lap before. And that's kind of what happened there. Nothing intentional, just a lockup from Bobby Terrell.
And you see the unofficial results there on your screen. And we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we are going to hear from our top 3 finishers here tonight. Might try to sneak a word in with Jeff Chandler as well, because I'm very curious as to what has happened to him. But we will take a look in just a minute. Welcome back here to Road America, where Bernard Persson was able to hold off Richie Coy and grab his first win of the year. Chris, what more can you want from a road course?
I don't think that there's anything you could ask for a better night for Bernard Persson. Just really won this race off of strategy with a little bit of the leaders pitting at different times, really put him in a great position here. And that's really what ended up making this race as awesome as it was, but for him, and really able to just maintain his lead over Richie Coy there in the last 5 laps.
Exactly right, Chris. And some new podium drivers here tonight, and I believe you are standing down with the first time Andrew Poliski has gotten on the podium. I think you're down there with him, Chris.
I certainly am. Andrew, this was an incredible race for this 96 crew. Take me through your perspective of this race.
Well, I'm gonna ask myself what if for a long time at this because of what happened on the first lap. I missed my braking point coming into I think 14 and axle hopped and spun out, and I pretty much at that point was just heads down and not gonna make that many mistakes anymore and just take what I can at that point. So I just took what came with me, and I knew I had a fast car. I mean, this track is great for me. So fast all week, just kicking myself, but happy at the same time.
Certainly was a big mistake there on that first lap, but man, you can't be disappointed in yourself with coming back at least to make it to third. This track is incredibly difficult. We saw a lot of different drivers here make a lot of different mistakes throughout the entire race. You're able to do a little bit fewer than a lot of them and still be able to bring it home third. I know you're kicking yourself, but man, it's still an incredible race for you in this 96 bunch. Is there anyone that you'd like to thank that helps you get this virtual 96 to and from the virtual track?
I want to thank Kevin and Paul Sargent for giving me an opportunity with Raving Moose Racing. Also, Looney Bin Lure Companies for hopping on. They keep us going. So, um, figuring some stuff out, being a rookie, but figuring some stuff out. We're making some headway now. So, hopefully, we can take this momentum and uh, make something happen come to the playoffs.
Certainly, I think going into this race, you were 18th in the overall point standings. So this great finish here will help you in that quest to be in the top 16. But Andrew, we're heading to Atlanta next week. What can we expect out of this crew there?
I believe we're going to be pretty good. Like I said, we've figured out some stuff with some setups, so we've been running a lot better on all tracks. Really starting to hit on all 8 cylinders and and make good headway. And we had a rough start to the start of the year. Didn't have a lot of luck go our way, so things are trending in the right direction. Like I said, we're making the right adjustments during the race and in practice, and just we're going to keep this momentum up.
Well, you mentioned it right then about making changes throughout the course of the race. What changes did this 96 car go from that first stint to the second?
I really did not make many changes at all, if any. I just I had a great setup. I spent a lot of time this week getting the setup right, and it was great through the whole race. I ran a little hard to get up front there and burn my stuff up a little bit, but I mean, like I said, I think if I don't make that mistake at the start, we're looking at second or first.
Well, congratulations on P3, and don't beat yourself up too bad. Jared, he came home with P3, not happy even in that podium position, but you're caught up with the second place driver, Richie
Ovals.
Coy, in that number 19 machine.
Yeah, I'm down here with the with Richie Coy, and Richie, what a race you had! I mean, it was everything was going on in your race. You had to start from the pits, and you came out, and you made an interesting strategy call, and it looked like it might have paid off for you, but Bernard Persson put you under a little pressure there.
What a race. Yeah, I don't even know where to begin. Starting on pit road, I was behind from the get-go, so I did the strategy call just because I knew I was going to be kind of behind everybody else. I needed to do something that everybody else wasn't doing, and I think it would have worked if I didn't get off in Canada corner there and just get the front of my car a little bit. And I think I was down a little bit on power towards the end of the race there. I know I was flirting with oil temperature, so.
Yeah, we didn't get any indication that you had any excursions except for the one where you went off while you were in the lead. But you were missing your hood. What happened out there?
You know, it's the old adage. You got to pay attention to what you're doing, especially on a road course. And I missed my point going into Canada Corner, and just overshot it. Couldn't get it slowed down. And once you hit the sand, just kind of slide across, and I just hit I just hit the wall. It didn't seem bad, but yeah, it was bad enough. I had to lose my hood, and yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and those damages from experience, even a little bit of damage can really hurt you on a road course here tonight, and especially maybe here tonight. But Richie still second in points. Now we got 8 races to go until Daytona, the cutoff race, or sorry, 8 races to go until the playoffs. 7 races until the cutoff race. You're in solidly in the playoffs. You're pretty much officially clinched, or you are officially clinched at this point. Go to Atlanta next week. We raced there earlier in the year. You had a great car. Believe you finished in the top 5. Can we expect more of the same next week for the 19?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I got a good group of guys behind me with Fury Motorsports and all our affiliates, and we work really hard each week to try to get the best product out there, so we can all be up front, and hopefully we can keep doing that. I mean, we did it. I know my teammates and stuff had some issues tonight during the race. It was kind of the opposite, where I was coming up and they were going backwards. But we work really hard each week and hopefully we can go to Atlanta with a good piece.
Yeah, and actually, I was looking it up. Richie, you won the pole there and ended up finishing 6th. So definitely a track on your radar. But I'm going to turn the mic over to you, bud. Let you have the last word here tonight, and congratulations on a tough, well-earned second place finish.
Thanks, guys. I want to shout out to Bernie. He did a fantastic job, and he did something that I wasn't able to do, which was run that last half of the race without making any mistakes, and it paid off for him. So he did a fantastic job. I was trying my hardest to get to him, but he did a great job. Shout out to my team. Shout out to my dad, who goes on the stream with me, and he actually was quiet tonight and let me concentrate, even though I still messed up. But thanks to everybody, my wife and everybody, for letting me do this, and thanks to you guys in the booth. I can't wait to watch it back.
All right, Chris, that was Richie Coy, who grabs a second place. But I believe you've caught up with the defending series champion, who finally gets a 1 in the win column, Chris.
I certainly have. Bernard, you led 15 laps here en route to your victory here tonight and had the cleanest race out of every driver in the field, coming home with 0 incident points at a track that is incredibly difficult. Take us through this race from your perspective in that number 8 machine.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank Jarrett for taking the effort and showing me what gear to be in, how to get around the track. He even sent me a video just for me to learn the track, and I take my hat up to him for showing me that. But yeah, what a race, man! It took a lot of patience and hitting your marks every single lap. And who would have thought I would have won a road course? Not me.
Well, you certainly did it, and you did it in style, holding off a charging Richie Coy. Wasn't able to get there at the end. You were able to basically maintain the same gap between you and the 19 machine for the last 5 laps. Last lap there, he seemed to get a little bit faster than you, but it didn't matter. You'd already opened that lead up to about 2 seconds before that lap had even started. 0 incident points again. Man, who helps get this number 8 machine to and from the virtual track each week?
Well, our team, Spears Motorsports, we all take time. Me, Brian, Jason, all of us. We all get into the room and we practice night after night, and we got a pretty good piece underneath us here. And yeah, we take a lot of effort, a lot of time making these setups.
Absolutely. Next week, we're going to head to Hot Atlanta. What can we expect out of this number 8 crew?
Hopefully another win. I'm looking forward to some of these tracks coming up. I just hope the wins just keep coming out.
Absolutely. It took 20 races to get your first one, but Bernard, you did it with incredible style here tonight, and hopefully you can take this momentum into the next coming weeks with just 6 races left into the playoffs and continue to rack up wins and get as many points as possible. But congratulations on an excellent job here tonight. And is there anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Oh, absolutely. I want to thank you guys for putting on an awesome show. I'd like to thank Brody for putting together a great league. You know, that just goes to show you how tough it is to win a race here with all these drivers. They're so good. And just my teammates. Without my teammates, I wouldn't be where I am right now.
Well, absolutely. We'll be looking forward to this 8 machine in Atlanta next week. Congratulations again on the P1 finish, Bernard, and we will see you at the track at Atlanta next week.
Thank you.
All right, Chris, what a race we've had tonight, and congratulations to Bernie getting his first career road course win and his first win in 20 races this year. That's huge, and that can open up a floodgate.
And absolutely doing it dominantly for the better part of the second half of this race, leading 15 laps, Jared. It wasn't like he came down to 1 or 2 laps. He led the most laps in this race, no mistake about it. Yes, Jeff Chandler led early on, but when it came down to it, Bernard put on the best, cleanest race of anyone in the field tonight.
Now let's see if we can get a hold of Jeff Chandler. I saw him come out of the media center. Jeff, are you around?
I'm here.
Man, I wanted to catch up with you for a couple reasons. I mean, you had the dominant car at the beginning of the race. You made the early call to come in the pits, which I thought was an excellent call. But then you came back on pit road under the caution. What was going on? What was the call thinking or the call there?
Well, actually, I came in a lap early, and I lost track of where I was. I was talking to Jeff, and just before I knew it, I said, I'm going to go in this lap, and because I should have went in one more lap later, and I would have been okay, but I had 3 extra laps on it before the caution came out. So I was like, I like my chances better with fresh tires, and I was wrong. Plus I blew it. I overshot one corner talking to Jeff and got off track, and I was like a 7-second lead at that point, and that was kind of the beginning of the end for my deal.
Well, you definitely made it interesting at the end there, catching up to Mike Watson and Andrew Poliski, and maybe a couple more laps you would have been on the podium. But we wanted to talk to you in either way because, I mean, it was such an interesting strategy call. But I mean, I can see your point. I could definitely understand coming back on pit road after you saying what you said there.
Yeah, and it's easy to second guess yourself after the fact because now I definitely wish I'd have stayed out, but I just was worried that they would just get by me, and I just didn't. I don't know. That was just a bad call. That's just 100% me. But Bernie earned that one. He was flawless tonight. Man, he was. I even picked him the other night when me and Jeff were talking. I said it's either going to be him or Lane. I said those are the guys that have the pace and practice that can win this thing. So I was half right.
Yeah, it was a great race, Jeff, and you made it interesting for sure. And we liked seeing your progress through the race. I'm gonna let you have the last word, bud, and give any shout outs here on a 4th place finish at the end of the day.
Man, I appreciate it. Definitely want to thank Frontline Esports. Just a great group of guys we have, and we just love our A Open races, and we're doing really well. We're making progress, so I really appreciate them. Judd of Abruzzi Racewear, he does a lot for us, and just appreciate his help. Doyle Lawrence, he paints all my cars, and he's just got such a great imagination and comes up with some of the most killer looking cars. I'm just proud as hell to drive them. Ken Byron of Ryco Motorsports, that's what I used tonight, was a Ryco Road America setup, and I even shared it with a couple of competitors tonight last night so they could use it. Maybe they'll become Ryco customers. And definitely Darkmatter Designs, we appreciate them for sponsoring our series. You guys, Jared and Chris, we appreciate y'all at Full Throttle TV. FTSR, best league out there, hands down. And just definitely appreciate y'all.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to talk happened there on that call. So thanks for taking some time for us, Chris. There you go. That's what happened to Jeff Chandler. Mystery solved.
Absolutely. And man, I can understand it. I've done the same thing myself with talking to teammates and just losing track of where I am and what I'm doing, and just that little slip up going off track and then eventually going into the pits. I can understand how it can happen pretty easily, but it was interesting to see that he pretty much took everyone behind him that was in that same strategy with him, and it didn't work out for most of those guys, Jared.
It didn't, but Jeff Winter was able to finish in the top 10, finished 6th finished in the top 10 tonight. I think he finished 7th, actually. I think our scoring is a little bit off kilter there, but he did a good job. We look at the point standings unofficially. Top 25 shaking up. Jeff Chandler now up to 22nd, so he's got a buffer. He will obviously, I'm pretty sure he's going to miss Atlanta, so I think we'll see him at New Hampshire in 2 weeks. So it'd be interesting to see if he can hold on. At the same time, some other drivers dropping down. Sure, Williford Ronnie Royal dropping down. Steven Vrooman moving up. And inside the points now, Andrew Poliski will move into a playoff position thanks to Chad Lang not being here tonight. So a big run for him here at Road America.
Absolutely. All these points matter. And really, at the end of the night, Bernard Persson did the homework, was able to bring it home P1. Jared, he talked about it. He studied for this track, and it showed in his performance tonight.
Sure did, and a big shout out to Bernard Persson grabbing his first win of the year. Long overdue, and like I said, hopefully the floodgates will open for him in the Darkmatter Cup Series and getting some more wins. But that's going to do it for tonight at America's National Park of Speed, Road America. For Chris Speer, for Full Throttle TV, for Darkmatter Designs, I'm Jared Carr. We'll see you guys out on the track.